The Democrats who fled Washington, I cannot help but laugh about that. This is nothing more than a hissy fit. They didn't get their way. They knew they were going to lose the vote, so they ran.
Well, Marianne, they didn't flee Washington. They fled Texas. I know that geography is generally not your thing, but like that's a oops-a-daisy. Ordinarily, there's some sort of subterfuge, some sort of quiet, shadowy game that they're playing, that they redraw districts in the night and take shadowy votes to try and gain. Donald Trump went on the lawn of the White House and said, yeah, we're going to go pick up 5 votes. This is corruption. This is criminal, what they're doing. The Democrats left the state to avoid a quorum because they're bad. They're the only ones doing anything to stand up to this impossibly corrupt administration. There are still children missing from the floods a couple of weeks ago. Texans are suffering and need help, and these are redrawing maps to pick up House seats. How the are you sitting here defending this? They can't win, so they cheat, and they count on you to pretend that that's not what's happening. Personally, I support people who don't break the law and try and cheat to win. I know that that's foreign to you guys, but I'm happy about it. I'm psyched for Texas Democrats. I wrote them a letter. I sent it right here, by the way. Pause to read. You can do the same. Just say thanks. Hey, thanks, guys, for sticking up for us for once. Fuck.
Time to highlight one of my favorite political creators on the talk.
We've got Minnesota electing a Somali mayor who looks exactly like Ayam the Captain now. I looked it up. I was like, why do Somalians all look like scared light bulbs? And I can't find an answer. They look unlike any other black in all of Africa.
Why is it that you people look like you're tailgating an insane clown posse show at a vape store? If I squint hard enough, you are every single one of these photos.
Whites are the only people that vote with any kind of meritocracy. Every other group votes based on their ethnic standing. They're tribalists. We're the least tribal group ever.
Least tribal group ever.
And the other thing, the other elephant in the room with Somalia is the IQ issue. The fact that this mayoral candidate can speak.
You think that Biden won this election? You're a pure idiot. You do know what idiot is. People who ain't got brains.
I had to go really deep in the archives for that one. Anyway, it's crazy that hypocritical mold spores like that get a platform the size that he has. But it's 2025, and that's what we're doing now. I would just like to point out the obvious sort of hypocrisy. Every time they do some sort of like brainless IQ purity test for whites versus everybody else, and then turn around and say, but I'm not racist. That's what that is.
Good trouble. And here he is taking down Gavin McInnes, the literal leader of the Proud Boys.
What do you think the biggest reason is why people say you're anti-Semitic?
Well, it's just like everything else. There was a time.
Great job, Brad. I don't expect Brad here to understand the danger of platforming somebody like Nick Fuentes and then asking questions. But why do they think you're anti-Semitic? Because Bradley's brain is mostly SARMs at this point, and he's not capable of having this conversation. Clearly, because people have brought this up to him. Hey, maybe stop platforming anti-Semites and just unapologetic racists and goons like this. And yet Bradley's like, I don't know, I can fight you. It would take 3 seconds to do the greatest hits of Nick Fuentes' anti-Semitism or misogyny or racism or transphobia or all of that he says in this clip that he just gets labeled because I have opinions. It's because he is all of those things. All of those isms is this. He's the poster child. And Bradley Martin thinks it's a good idea for views and clicks to normalize having somebody this virulent on his. Good job, Brad. You're doing terrific.
Taking on the manosphere, which is very important.
They want to control white people so bad, and the Sydney Sweeney case is a prime example of that. They really don't want beautiful white women being proud of their ancestry.
There's so much discourse on whether or not this ad is a dog whistle, or they're talking about eugenics, or this is white supremacy. Or it could go either way. You know who didn't misinterpret this? White supremacists.
Muslims hire other Muslims, Indians hire other Indians, Jews hire other Jews. All right, my beautiful white people, gather around. First things first, these people are funded by the Tiny Hat Gang, who has sent them out to recruit more pawns to do more of their dirty work.
This woman Mayonnaise Mary has heard this message from Sydney Sweeney and American Eagle loud and clear. This is what happens when they try and silence white people. Okay? If you're curious, if you're on the fence whether or not, oh, this could be interpreted, here's your answer. Just as an aside, is the master race in the room with us now, or should we expect them at some point? Woof, dude.
And white supremacists on the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ad. Let's go back to why it is so dangerous to platform someone like Nick Fuentes.
Feel when you're totally not pressed. The feel when we control your bodies. Hey, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. And yes, we control your bodies. Hi, I'm your Republican congressman. Hi, I'm your Republican congressman. It's your body, my choice. And men, women again. Men win again. There will never, ever be a female president. Never. There will never be a female president, ever. It's over. Glass ceiling. Dude, it's a ceiling made of bricks. You will never break it. Your stupid face keeps hitting the brick ceiling. We will keep you down forever. You will never control your own bodies. You will never be the president of the global empire. Never gonna happen, sweetie. Your body, our choice.
Donald Trump facing growing backlash tonight to his dinner last week with prominent white nationalist Nick Fuentes at his private Mar-a-Lago club. Some of the strongest condemnation coming from his former vice president.
President Trump was wrong to give a white nationalist, an anti-Semite, and a Holocaust denier a seat at the table. And I think he should apologize.
It's, oh, you haven't had sex. It's like, well, I haven't chosen to do that yet. I'm choosing instead to be an historical figure. I'm choosing instead to lead an historical right-wing movement. So it's a cope. But anyway, I'm an incel. I am a proud incel. I believe that organized Jewry is extremely influential in the United States. We need to go back to burning women alive more. These left-wing people, in their heart of hearts, they know they're wrong because, they know that black people are violent. Hitler was a German statesman. Enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, and to drink out of a different water fountain. Big deal. Don't tell me they're entitled to their religion. If their religion involves my Lord in hell, then they can get out of America. Oh, I'm anti-Semitic? Yeah, I on your Talmud. You think I'm anti-Semitic? You think I care what Antichrist believes? Send the military into these black neighborhoods, make the streets safe. They'll complain about it. It doesn't matter. Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really cool.
Full transparency before I get into this, I have gone on a few different lives with Good Trouble on TikTok. I am not biased in any way when I say that I think that he is doing a lot of very good work by taking down a lot of these different talking points from a different perspective as well than other leftist creators on different platforms. Secondly, Bradley Martin hosting a white nationalist, a Hitler-loving guy, and just tossing him like softballs. This is how you usher in your audience. And I know some of the comments are going to be like, oh, they were already there. They weren't there. So now they're going to think this guy is credible because someone they find credible is lending their platform and not checking them. And that's a big problem. God, I sounded so Chicago. That's a big problem that I have with a lot of people who are in media, whether on the left or not, when you are trying to find this middle ground, that's okay. But we also need to acknowledge hey, they said some pretty terrible stuff about Jewish people. They've said some pretty terrible stuff about black people. They've said some pretty terrible stuff about Mexican people. They've said some pretty terrible stuff about Arabic people. Maybe you should check them on it before you try and have this little kumbaya moment. This is dangerous, man. For example, when I saw the infighting on the right, which, by the way, let him fight. When I saw the infighting between Jason Whitlock and Nick Fuentes, I showed the Fuentes clip, and then I also showed why he is trash, and you don't have to pick somebody in this fight. You could just sit back and watch it and see how two terrible, loathsome, lonely human beings are going at each other's necks. That's the context that I put in because I think it's important. And those who don't, like a Bradley Martin, who are just going to let him skate on by, infuriating. It's infuriating because this isn't what it's supposed to be about. He's doing this because he knows that a lot of his audience may agree with Nick Fuentes. And he's going to capture their audience. I'm sorry, his audience too. That's the whole goal. It's not to just ask questions. That's part of it, to be a doofus. It's also to try and garner as many eyeballs as possible. Bradley Martin's playing the long game, although he's playing it very foolishly.